Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have officially reached the point where reality has become a fucking South Park episode. Former NBA center Enes Kanter Freedom. He's a 6'10", about 250, third overall pick in the 2011 draft. He's announced he's declaring himself a prospect for the 2027 WNBA Draft.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
Yes, the WNBA. And before everybody starts screaming that he's making a mockery of women's sports, no, that is the point. He's making a mockery of the mockery, because sometimes the only way to show an argument has gone stupid is to take it dead seriously and walk it all the way to the finish line.
Don't worry, he's going to tape his dick back so that it doesn't stick out. And we're going to let him compete in our sports because we don't want Joan to feel left out. Go fuck yourself. 100% go fuck yourself. How are we at this place? Every time I poke my head out, I go, what is happening? Like, I can't even get my fucking head around how that's happening.
Let's get one thing straight before the internet swallows its tongue. Enes Kanter Freedom did not wake up, put on lipstick, buy a Subaru, and decide he wants to play power forward in the WNBA. This is a stunt. He knows it's a stunt. We know it's a stunt. And your fucking dog knows it's a stunt. What he's actually doing is waking up the league and saying, okay, define the rule. Not the slogan, not the hashtag, not the corporate statement that got run through 17 different lawyers and diversity committee. The actual fucking rule. Who qualifies to compete in the Professional Women's Basketball League? Now, here's the part everybody's getting wrong. Everybody assumes the WNBA has some squishy self-identification rule and Freedom found a loophole. It doesn't. I went and looked. The league's own collective bargaining agreement. 409 pages of it. Says exactly one thing on this. Only players who are women are eligible. That's it. That's the whole standard. They built an entire professional league around one word and then never bothered to define it. So Freedom isn't sneaking through a loophole. He's pointing at the blank space where the rule was supposed to be. 6'10", 250 pounds, 11 years in the NBA. I meet every requirement. So prove him wrong. Go ahead. Write down a standard that keeps him out. And watch how fast you're forced to admit the word woman has to mean something specific. And here's where it stops being one guy's stunt and turns into a goddamn movement, because Freedom isn't even alone anymore. Enter Royce White, another former NBA first-round pick, 6'8".
I think they're going to have nightmares, as they should. I mean, I'm 260 pounds, 265 pounds, 6'8".
You mentioned the other players are going to have nightmares about you. Is there any player in the WNBA that you think could match up well with you?
No. They're going to have nightmares, and they should. And they should, because I really feel like I'm going to be dominant.
This has to stop. We are getting former NBA players joining the WNBA. Do you know how much controversy this is going to cause?
If you make it to the WNBA, you plan to use the women's locker room and all that with them?
Of course. I mean, I don't want to be discriminated against. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't I use the women's locker room? I'd like to know what the parameters are. What exactly are the specifics? What criteria do I need to meet in order to be able to play exactly? I mean, is it just the wig? Do I have to cut my beard? Does my voice have to get a little bit lighter? Do I have to do this snip?
And I swear to God, I'm not making this shit up. Currently running for United States Senate up in Minnesota. Within hours of Freedom's announcement, Royce looked at the exact same rule book and goes, you know what? Me too. He goes on Fox News and says, and I quote, I'm transgender. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for the purpose of professional basketball. Sometimes for the purpose of basketball. That man built himself a loophole with an on-off switch. And then he hops on Twitter to make it official. My wig is in the mail. The wig is in the mail. And then, because of course he adds that if he doesn't get drafted, he's going to file a discrimination lawsuit. So let me make sure I've got this straight. 2 grown men, a combined 13 and a half feet of former NBA size, standing at the WNBA's front door and saying, define the word woman or draft us. And so far, the league can't manage to do either. This is what I call the absurdity test. Take a principle somebody swears they believe and push it until the room gets real quiet. Freedom pushed the button. Royce jumped on top of it with a wig. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham says out loud that women's sports should stay female, and half the league loses their fucking mind. Gabby Williams goes on the record. She's welcomed a trans athlete on her team any day.
I would welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team anytime. I don't think it's a problem in the world. It's just another way to kind of attack trans people.
Okay, say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA, or, because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game? What does it actually mean to be equal? You know what I mean? Like, if women are actually equal to men, then there would be no WNBA, would there? You would just be good enough to play in the NBA with us. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
Great. Everybody's got a position. Nobody's got a rule. And sports cannot run on position. Sports runs on categories. We split people up by weight, age, by skill, and in a whole lot of sports by sex. Not out of cruelty, because a category with no edges isn't a category. It's a fucking suggestion. And somewhere right now, somebody's already typing me an angry message. Good. Let me save you the effort. I'm not going to apologize. This is not the show where I stop, hold your hand, read you a disclaimer about whose feelings might get a bruise on them. You're the kind of person who gets offended before your coffee even cools off. You were never going to last around here anyway. Olde Salty Bastards is not a safe space. Never was, never fucking will be. People get offended when Wendy's forgets goddamn dipping sauce. We'll survive, because strip away all the screaming, and this was never actually complicated. What makes someone eligible for a protective competitive category? That's the oldest question in the sport. We've been drawing that line since the first 2 people agreed to keep score. This side, not that side. And anybody screaming bigot instead of answering it is just pissed off that they can't. And here's the funny part. Satire can't even keep up anymore. You watch something like South Park and you think, that's ridiculous. Nobody would actually do that. Then you open up your phone, 6 months later, breaking. 2 former NBA players declare for the WNBA. one of them running for Senate. His wig is in the mail. Somewhere, the South Park writers are staring at a blank page going, well, shit, what are we supposed to write now? So no, I don't think Enes Kanter Freedom is making a mockery of women's basketball. I think he's holding up a mirror. And if what you see in that looks ridiculous, the problem isn't with the mirror. WNBA has got until 2027. Plenty of time to write down what that word woman means in their own rulebook. And then apply it in every single person exactly the same way. Because a principle that only works until somebody you don't like picks it up will never be a principle. It was a mood. As today's Olde Salty Bastards, the show, this is Tug. Stay salty, you magnificent bastards.